Hello there and welcome along to week number 2 of TGP2. We are here at the fabulous Shanghai International Raceway for round number 3 of season 21 of the TGP2 series. So we are here. We had a very fantastic week 1, I have to say, with some great racing in both races in Australia and Bahrain, with two very differing results. Australia, the opening round of the season, we saw a fantastic win for Dom Smith in the Sauber. Not necessarily the favourite to win the race that time, but he pulled it out of the bag and put in a great performance to be able to come home victorious. In Bahrain, we had similarly a very different style of race. We had some battles for the lead, with some battles all the way down in both races, but Bahrain, I'd say, was the more memorable of the two, in which Barry came back to take his first win in TGP2. So he took his first podium in round number 1 and then got his first win in round number 2. So a fantastic start to the season for Barry, and because of that, that leaves him top of the standing. So Barry is top on 40 points. We've got Dom Smith in second on 31 points, Joe Sayre in the Renault in third on 30 points, CJ Beach in fourth, 23, Chris Johnson in fifth on 20. Two solid races for Chris on the opening night. Erland down in sixth. He'll be a bit disappointed with that. He put two very good qualifying performances in both rounds, but finds himself sixth in the championship on 20 points. Chiapelli, the favourite going into this season, sits there in seventh on 16 points. John in eighth on 10 points, and then we have Russell and Petrohead rounding out the top 10. So as we look through to the Constructors' Championship then, Renault sits top of the standings on 53 points, just 6 ahead of Luca and Dom in the Sauber, who are second. Mercedes are in third place with Weiss and Baza. Obviously, Weiss not being able to make week number 1, so Mercedes taking a bit of a hit from that there. Force India in fourth, Erland and Petrolhead there. McLaren, Chris and James on 20 points. Red Bull, John and Jacko on 10 points. Ferrari on 8 points. Haas on 7. And Toro Rosso at the bottom on 6 points. So, a little reminder from what we were discussing last week, of course, TGP2 and TGP Series in general runs a slightly different point scoring system. The top 7 drivers receiving the points you'd expect for them finishing in those positions, but then from 8th downwards receiving 8th down to 12th, receiving 5 down to 1 points there. Makes things a little bit more interesting, a little bit more competitive for the drivers throughout the league, so it gives them something to fight for even in the latter part of the race where maybe things haven't quite gone their way. So decreases retirements and increases racing competitiveness, which is what we like to see in a racing league. Now, obviously, the teams we briefly went through there, interestingly enough, Joe, this is a stat to build on from last week, has finished second to his teammate in the championship for the past 5 consecutive seasons. Jack Pearson over the last 4 seasons, and the season before that, Dom Smith. So Joe to finally be ahead, I know it's obviously very early stages, of a teammate, it's puts him in good stead for the seasons coming up. So as I said, here we are, round 3 in China. Fantastic track. This has had some very good racing over the past few seasons. The last few winners, at least. Obviously, Jack Pearson winning it last season. Now, obviously, been promoted to TGP1. Smokey Jays won it the season before that, being promoted to TGP1, and Jack winning the year before that as well. So, a circuit over the past 3 years has delivered or really put drivers to their test and showcased true talent. So whoever comes out on top here will be among those list of very, very competitive and well-regarded drivers. The tyre choices for this race is the ultra soft, the soft and the mediums. Now in TGP1 last night, if any of you joined us, it's created some very interesting strategies for the drivers, some electing not to start on the ultra soft tyres just because of how quickly they burn up. They don't last very long round here. These long, fast corners that we have, including the long back straight, do seem to tear up the tyres rather, and leave the drivers a little bit worse for wear. So the soft tyre actually was the best race tyre for last night, with the medium being used by pretty much all drivers, I think. So incidentally, we could see those two tyres used more prominently than the ultra soft tyre. We've had 14 different winners over the past 20 seasons of TGP2 here, and I'd like to think we get another one tonight. Could be very interesting. We'll have to wait and see. Interesting stat for qualifying here. Joe was the last driver from the current grid to take pole here. 7 seasons ago. Seasons 13. Joe was on pole. Ever since then, we've had drivers take pole who aren't currently in the league anymore. So there we go. And a couple of race stats for you we'll go through now, which are going to be interesting to watch out for on the race in about 50 minutes time. Joe and CJ are the only drivers on the grid to have won here previously, but not since the PS3 era. So the only drivers are on the grid here at the moment to have won previously are Joe and CJ. So watch out for those. This means we will have a new race winner for the first time in the last 8 seasons, as we mentioned. So if those two don't make it, that's going to be actually first time in the last 6 seasons we'll have a new race winner. And if neither of those win it, it will be a new winner for TGP2. So Chris is the only driver from the current grid to finish on the podium here in the PS4 era. So over the last 7 seasons, he's the only man to finish on the podium, and he finished on it 3 times. So Chris Johnson, you can see they're third in the provisional qualifying order at the moment. Always gone around quite well here. Another quite interesting thing to mention is the fact that Barry is the only driver to take a podium in both races of the opening week. So it's going to be something very much to keep an eye out on over the proceedings of this evening. Will he keep up his 100% scoring? So with just over 5 minutes left of qualifying then, we've had drivers come out and do 1, maybe 2 runs, and it currently sits with our title favourite, Mr. Chiapelli, on provisional pole from Joe Sayer. Chris Johnson, as we just mentioned, in third. He always goes quite well round here. CJ in fourth, Dom Smith, the Sauber teammate, in fifth. We were seeing some interesting slipstream tactics I thought I saw from the Sauber drivers earlier on in qualifying, so whether they'll keep that up or not is yet to be seen. Mr. John in 6th place, and we have Michael Kenny in 7th. Bazza, our current championship leader, down in 8th place and needs to find some pace. Though interesting, I can see he is out there on the soft tyres at the moment. We have James, no we don't have, yeah we do have James in 9th. Red Bull Kim at the moment is in 10th and just gone out on an outlap. Russ is in 11th place. Then we have Petrohead 12th, Jacko in 13th. And in 14th we have Erlang, who hasn't set a time yet, so we need to watch out for those drivers there. And Aidan, bring you in here. What are your thoughts for qualifying? What have you seen out there on the track so far? Who's looking quite competitive?
Luca's definitely looking the quickest at 1:31.8. That's a very quick lap time. And then obviously Joe, a bit far behind on 1:32.3, but I mean, you could say from second onwards it's very competitive. I mean, hopefully the lap times do get a bit closer. One thing I have noticed though, the Ultrasoft runners are taking it very easy on the outlaps and the in-laps, because like you said, these tyres do burn up and they'll only last about 3 laps, and then that's it, the time to go in the bin.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on what race strategy a lot of the drivers do at the moment, in terms of, do they try and go out there now? Have they held a little bit back on their first run to get their iron on the track, and then go out there at the end of the session on the soft tyres to ensure that they're starting on the optimum race tyre? I think that's going to be interesting to look out for as well. But for sure, these Ultrasofts just don't seem to be lasting, which is what we like. It gives things a little bit of unpredictability, but I'm sure the drivers are hating it at the moment.
Yeah, I mean the tyres will feel very good when you first put them on. I mean the Ultrasofts very sticky. They're going to feel fantastic, but after that lap or so, they're going to start to degrade. They're going to start to overheat very quickly. While the Ultrasofts, the softs don't heat up as quick and obviously don't degrade as fast. So maybe that is the prime tyre to go on to for the race. But I think the key question is, are you going to be quick enough on those softs compared to the Ultra runners at the start?
Yeah, no, it's going to be very interesting to see who takes the gamble and who decides that maybe it isn't worth it. 2 drivers that have decided it is worth it, particularly at the moment, are the top 2 who are out there again on outlaps at the moment. So let's see what sort of. Joe's actually the further round of the 2 at the moment, and as Aidan said, they're taking it very, very easy, just to make sure he's keeping as much life in those tyres as possible. I wouldn't have said even for the qualifying lap. I think they're just thinking of the race, because they burn up so quickly. You can put about 10% wear on them just on a quick qualifying lap. So if they can really minimise the amount of wear they're putting them on an outlap and even on a quali lap, then they're seeing themselves on for the race. But Aiden, we've got Joe starting a lap now. Talk us through the lap here of Shanghai.
Well, there we go then. He's come across the start-finish line. He's opened the DRS. Want to get it nice and early. Opening it late can always cost you that tiny bit into turn 1. Got to make sure the car doesn't drift out wide because there's grass there. Get grass in the tyres, that's it, your lap's compromised. Got a bit of traffic ahead, yellow flag, sector 1 and 2. Runs a bit wide through turn 2 and then round turn 3. Heading up to turn 4, he's got a lot of traffic ahead. Looking for about a low 25 in this first sector. What can you say? A 24.5. Half a second quicker than my prediction. Misses the apex in on the right hand side, losing the rear. Now this is where, if you've got enough downforce, you can gain a lot of time. Take this corner flat out. Does he take the right line? No, he doesn't, and he has to lift. Again, maybe the dirty air from the Mercedes ahead isn't helping, but very nice through there from Joel Sayer. Now these two left-handers, the second one comes at you very quickly. Doesn't run too wide, don't run again wide here. Fantastic using the curb to stable the car out a bit there. Very good lap so far then from Joel Sayer. Might get a bit of a tow from the McLaren as he misses the apex on the left-hand side. Now through the snail section he goes. It is Chris Johnson in the McLaren ahead. He'll be hoping for the tow. The car just wants to drift, avoid that curb, and he does. Well, that's not the cleanest run there for Joel Sayer. Now, a very long straight DRS line, but halfway down it, and he opens it now. Got quite a lot of DRS left as Joel Sayer, so not used a lot of it on this lap, so he shouldn't run out. Into the braking zone then, misses the apex on the right hand side and runs wide. It's going to cost him more time, losing the rear as well. Up to the final corner, very easy to take the bollard and cut it and run wide. And he's done exactly that. Joel Sayer up to the line, what can he do? A 132.1.
He doesn't improve. He's shy by about 0.2, I think I saw there flash up. But so second at best for Joe Sayer as that's his session over. Where's Chiapelli on his lap at the moment? He's just coming onto the main straight. Let's see what sort of lap time he can do. Is he going to be able to extend his advantage? We've still got some quick runners out there that haven't set particularly fast lap times. One of which is actually no, Erlang has finished for the session. That's it for him. Dom Smith is on another lap. What about Chris Johnson? Chiapelli actually runs wide coming out of the hairpin there. And up to the last corner, as Aiden said, very easy to lose a lot of lap time through here. But he keeps it together nicely. And up to the line, Luca does improve to a very, very competitive lap time there for Luca. And I have to say...
Dom's off. That's his lap over. It's qualifying finished.
And then Dom is not going any quicker, as you can see there. Mr. Johns jumped into 5th place, so a fantastic qualifying for him. Where's Chris Johnson?
He's
on
a
his
quick
lap
one.
At the moment?
24.4 in the first sector. Or the second sector.
Chris Johnson then is going to try and put his hat in the ring for pole position, or at least to upset Joe and get onto the front row. The McLaren driver, who, as we said, had a so week one. We've got CJ's gone into 3rd place. Good lap from CJ there to put Renault 2 and 3. So this is going to be a big lap for Chris Johnson. Is he going to run wide like everyone else did at the hairpin? Not as much. Or is he going to get a good run then into the last corner and then up to the line, which is where it's all going to make a difference.
Very good
run.
He
keeps that very nice and tidy up to the line. Chris Johnson's going to go.
It's his force.
He doesn't improve in the end. And what can Baza do? He's 6th. So that's a bit better for the Mercedes driver. We've still got Mr. John out there on the lap, who's been bumped down to 5th all of a sudden. From
I don't
5th,
think that's
sorry.
a very competitive lap time. A 1:30 at the hairpin. I don't think that's unless my timing screen is wrong. But
no, I have the same. So I think that might be qualifying over. Yes, it is. As the Rebel driver peels off into the pits. Kim's on a lap though. Kim's in the pits. What about Russ? Russ is also in the pits there. So the only sort of late improvement we had there really was from CJ. So very good time in the end there for the Renaults, both Renaults actually, to get themselves into 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what they can do from this position onwards.
Yeah, 2nd and 3rd.
Again,
half a second though. It's a big gap.
Yeah, that's Lucas staking his claim that. It wasn't, honestly, last week was a mistake. I am still here, and this is going to be my title. So, let's give you a rundown of the qualifying order then for the Chinese Grand Prix. I'm currently getting my safety rating coming up, which is, I'm sure you can imagine, hasn't got any better from that. So we've got Chiapelli on pole position, then a good time from the Sauber driver, half a second clear of Joe Sayer in the Renault in second. He's joined by his teammate in third, CJ heading up row number 2 there. Chris Johnson in fourth, good qualifying from the McLaren driver. Erlang in fifth. I imagine he probably wanted a little bit better from that session. Then we've got Baza, championship leader, in sixth place. Mr. John is going to be seventh. Dom Smith down there in eighth place. He'll be disappointed with that. Red Bull Kim, good qualifying. Oh no, sorry, Michael Kenny. I do apologise, Michael, is in ninth place, and Red Bull Kim rounds out the top 10 for us there. So the grid is set very nicely indeed for the Chinese Grand Prix. We're just going to have to see now who can get the dream run into turn 1.
I think the key point going into this race as well, obviously people outside the top 10 can start on whatever tyre they want, fresh tyres. There's only one person though inside the top 10 on the softs, and I believe that is Erlang in the Force India.
Well, maybe that's why Erlang was a little bit further down the grid than we all expected, but that does put him in very good stead for the race. However, he will be in the middle of in the mix of it all, so he will have to watch things like his front wing, not destroying his tyres in the turbulent air of other drivers, and making sure he can pick them up quickly enough to be able to challenge Luca and the others moving forward for the rest of this race. So the drivers are ready. We have 2, 3, 4, 5 lights in China for the 21st season of TGP2, and we're underway, and it's a good start from the front too. A good start as well from Chris Johnson as Haas gets quite excited about that. And we got a Joe Sayer up the inside, Chiapelli, and there's contact, and I think Joe Sayer's gone round. Yes, he has. Nearly collects his teammate. Very aggressive from Chiapelli in turn 1, and Dom Smith is already up to third, but it's a disaster for the Renaults, who find themselves second to last and last. Moving forward then, Chris Johnson made up a couple of positions, as we said. Russ has made his way up to fourth. What a fantastic start for the Ferrari driver. Mr. John is in fifth, Michael Kenny is in sixth, but it's disastrous news for the two Renaults, who find themselves in 13th and 14th. Erlang has got himself a 5-second stop and go penalty for corner cutting already. Or 5-second time penalty, I do apologise. He hasn't made up the sort of progress he would have liked from the start of the race, and actually finds himself down in 13th. It's been an awful start from Baza as well, who drops as well. I don't know if he's had a spin or something there, but he's ended up now at the back of the field. A disaster from Baza. I think he's actually lost some of his front wing. The Renaults nearly making contact each other. CJ nearly running into the back of his teammate. It's Joe Gary and ends up off the track, and that was all getting very, very tasty. At the back there, Baza was trying to have a little look at the inside of CJ, but it's a dream start in the end, actually, for Chiapelli, who's starting to streak clear from Chris Johnson and Dom Smith. Dom Smith has had the sort of start he wanted, keep his nose clean, keep out of trouble, and work his way up to P3. We got John and Russ battling. Been a good opening lap for Russ, who finds himself in the battle for fourth, and he's having to fend off John quite prominently. But as we said, the Saubers doing what they had to do.
Yeah, fantastic start. Luca kept it very clean. But I think the key point here is now for the Renaults. Whether they both spun, I seen one spin, maybe one just took avoiding action. Those ultra sauce are going to be cooking now. And that's one thing you don't want to do around here.
No, very much not. And I
think
the Renaults actually contact
side by side.
The Renaults are side by side, and they've been joined by Petrolhead. So this is not where these two would have liked to have been at the end of lap 1. We've got CJ and Joe going tooth for nail. We've got CJ up the inside of Petrolhead. He gets the move done.
Oh, Reynolds front wing damage.
He runs into the back of Petrolhead, actually, and he won't want to damage his front wing. I'm not sure if he has.
I think he has. He's missing some end plate on the right side. Yeah, but he's missing some of the important parts.
He is, yeah, I see what you mean there, and he runs wide coming through the long left-hander there. And this was not the start that two Renaults wanted. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. They lead, obviously, the Constructors' Champions. Joe goes well off through the corner there. Some interesting lines there, but
McLaren round, James.
We've got James round further up the field, and he's lost some of his front wing. Please don't spin him back onto the track, James. Oh, he's just about to get away with it. God, that's not gone well for him. But we've got still Russ and John going tooth for nail at each other, getting very close as well at the hairpin. And this time, I think John has made the move stick as Chiapelli extending his lead at the front now to 1.7 seconds. He's having a dream as DRS is enabled. But yeah, just back to that turn 1 incident, I think I did see Joe and Luca making contact there. It looked like Luca was very aggressive on the turn into turn 1. I don't know if he didn't expect Joe to be there or chose to ignore him, but there was contact, and hopefully no hard feelings between the two of them. Stewards haven't gone and investigated it at the moment. Obviously they might do after the race, and whether it will get taken or not, we'll have to find out. But for sure, that will be a defining moment in this race, I feel.
Yeah, maybe Joe going into turn 1 braked a little bit later, so maybe his car drifted out wide, which I said on the quali, like, we can't go wide at turn 1. You're going to hit someone or you're going to go on the grass, and he's done that. He's hit someone instead of going onto the grass, and it's caused a chain effect with him, his teammate Baza as well. Obviously he's gone onto the medium compound tire, I believe, and obviously 33 seconds behind 13th place. That's not the start that Mercedes driver would have wanted at all.
Yeah, so we mentioned Russ having a dream first lap. They actually made up 7 positions.
CJ and Jacko, I think, just made contact.
Oh, right. Let's look at that one.
Here comes the Force India.
Oh, yes, I see what you mean. It's now the Red Bull driver being put under some serious pressure from Erlang, who, as you said, started on those soft tyres, but definitely didn't get started.
The Red Bull!
This Jacko's going to come back, and there's going to be a huge accident as CJ somehow avoids it.
That was incredible.
That could have been an aeroplane crash.
Yeah, that could have been huge. And I think there's a Renault in. No,
yes,
yeah, there is.
We've got Red Bull Kim, and we have CJ in, and we've got Joe in as well. The Renaults are double stacked.
No way. Miscommunication there.
That has gone badly wrong. And where's Baza going to be in all of this as well? Obviously, Joe, I imagine, will be changing his front wing.
It's incredible.
CJ is in and out with Kim, and now we see the Renault mechanics try and get into position, but it all takes time.
Change.
Time is ticking. Where's he going to come out in relation to? I think Baza should have this done comfortably.
Baza's coming around the final corner. It's going to be close.
Oh, actually, it might be a lot closer than I thought. Joe's just going to come to the end of the pits now.
Yep, Joe's got him.
The green light. Here he goes. Where's Baza going to come out in relation to this? And Joe's done it. Oh, and we've got CJ and Kim battling. CJ's going to try and go around the outside of Kim into the hairpin. Doesn't get it done, but then he's got all squirrely on the exit as Joe has kept ahead of Baza, but CJ has got ahead of Kim.
Yeah, he's gone on the soft compound tyre. He's going to have to look after them. Can't push too hard on those tyres around here. If it was another circuit, you might get away with it, but not at China. He's going to have to look after them. Now
watching Michael Kenny. He's on the DRS of Russ. Russ doesn't put up much fight at all, and the Northerner claims another scalp as Russ goes very defensive from Erlang then, and he wipes up half his front wing, and he's going to be on the inside, and somehow they get away without contact, and Erlang gets his way through, and Russ is spinning on the exit, and his bad start is going away. And interestingly, Lucas stayed out and Dom has pitted along with Chris Johnson, Mr. John. And is anyone else going to dive into the pits? Not yet. While a lot of people are putting a lot of faith in these ultra soft tyres.
Yeah, and if you've looked after them, then you may as well. I think the longer you can go, it makes the sauce that little bit easier to manage towards the end of the race, and especially if people are on worn tyres here when they're overheating. There's a lot of corners where the car's going to want to understeer, it's going to want to oversteer with overheating tyres, so maybe this is the right call here from Luca, and I think Dom may have got this wrong.
Well, that is something which will unfold. However, Luca, I'm sure, will be feeling the strain of these heavily worn ultra soft tyres. He has still got a 16-second lead over Erlang, though. That is incredible. Luca is he's sliding round the end of the last sector there, but he hasn't put a foot wrong so far, and I don't want to give him the commentator's curse, but he's in a very good position at the moment. And Chris has actually come out in a nice little pocket of space. He's got about 4 seconds to his teammate, who of course hasn't pitted and spun, as Joe makes his way past Petrolhead further back, but still Joe's 13 seconds behind Kim. And starting on the front row to battling for 12th position. I don't think that's how Joe thought this race was going to go, as Luca does now dive into the pits. So where's he going to come out in relation to Chris Johnson? Of course, has had a nice lap on these slick new soft tyres, to get the hammer down, and will he be able to undercut Luca? I think the gap before the stops was about 2.5 seconds, so we're about to see whether Luca should have pitted the lap before. He needs an efficient stop from his Sauber crew, and he is released. Where's Chris Johnson?
Here he comes across the start-finish line. Luca
and Chiapelli is at the pit exit, so Chiapelli keeps the race lead.
He's under pressure though from James. What's going on here? He's come out in a gaggle of cars.
He has, however, he has still got 2 cars in between him and Chris Johnson. Admittedly, one of them is his teammate, as CJ sets the fastest lap further back. But he has got a couple of cars between him and his closest challenger. He doesn't want to make a risky move on Jacko, but he's going to. What a move that was from Luca. He runs himself wide, but Jacko gets back ahead. Oh, James, sorry. I do apologise, James. I got you both confused. It was a risky move. I don't think Luca really had to make it, and I think he found it out about 2 seconds after making it. And he doesn't want to lose an M plate on the back of James's car either, who of course is subliminally going to want to try and help his teammate, who's now going to try and get past Russ and Jacko. Luca just needs to keep his head, keep cool, and try and get as much of a gap as he can to Chris, who's going to still have to get through all this traffic. Luca's going to have to remember he will get DRS down the main straight as he suffers from some serious understeer coming around the snail. As we got a Red Bull off in the background. That's going to help Chris Johnson out, who has now pretty much cleared both those cars. And is Luca going to be able to clear James? He's going to go to the inside line. James is going to try and go very defensive. Luca thinks better of it, thinking of the long game here. And is he going to get a better run to try and help him onto the main straight? Is James even going to pit? We saw him spin early in the race. I'm sure his tyres are screaming for help, but he's going to stay out for a bit as Luca runs a little bit wide. Is he going to be able to get him down the start-finish straight and into turn number 1?
I think he's going to have to get the move done soon, definitely. James is on those soft compound tyres, so he's probably going to have to go to about lap 10. He's actually going to go up the inside now. Can he get him?
Luca Chiapelli.
He can.
Is he going to be able to hold on to it? James is still there. They're rubbing wheels. He's pushing each other wide. They're going to be side by side going into the hairpin where just last lap is where the position changed. Luca gets the drive out of the corner and down into the hairpin. Covers off James. There's a little bit of contact, but Luca gets the move done. And now ensures again there's a car in between him and Chris Johnson.
Yeah, but, like I was going to say though, Mike, James was on the soft compound tyre, so he was going to go to about lap 10 because he's got to get the ultras to the end unless he goes to the mediums. So Luca had to get the move done, but couldn't shred the tyres. So he had to be careful but aggressive at the same time.
Yeah, and it was an aggressive move in the end from Luca, but it was one that did work. And I think
Russ is round. He's in the wall. That's turn 3, I believe.
I'd love to be able to see where you are here. Oh, yeah, we got Russ around as well.
A lot of drivers with front wing damage.
Yeah, there is. I somehow managed to lose my little tracker of which car I'm on at the moment. So we've got yellow flag in sector 3, and we've got I don't know who that is.
That's Jacko.
I haven't got my Jacko's off. My indicators stopped working, so I have no idea which car I'm on at which time.
Just keep clicking triangle.
Triangle?
Yes, that should reset it.
Oh, I've got my indicator back, ladies and gentlemen. No worries. We are back in business. So, yes, that's what's happened then. Right, how's Chris Johnson doing on his hunt of his teammate, who is on tyres that are 4 laps older than his?
Closing in quite quickly. But I think Chris might be playing the long game here. He knows his teammate has to pit, so it's not necessary. I can't say that word. It's not essential that he gets past at the moment. Plus, he's not close enough anyway. I think as long as he doesn't take the life out of these softs, he should be alright towards the end of this race. But again, he's running out of laps.
He is, rather. So he's going to need to be mindful of that coming forward. Quick update on Joe Sayers' progress. So he's up to 10th. And he's less than 4 seconds off the next car in front. So any Joe fans out there, don't think there are any of you, and I don't blame you for not supporting Joe. Who would? But he's in 10th. So well done, Joe. Erlang, meanwhile, is out and leading the race. Of course, he started on the soft tyres, which is seeing him through. Luca, of course, is closing in on him, but he does have tyres that are 5 laps younger. So it was always going to happen. Aidan, when did we expect to see Erlang in the pits? Now, obviously, he's going to go on to the ultra soft tyres. He's going to have to see these out till at least lap 10, isn't he? So another 2 laps.
Yeah, Jack Pearson in the Renault in TGP1 pitted about lap 10, and his ultras went, so I was able to defend from him. So maybe he might have to go to lap 11, 10 or 11, because the cars are now lighter. They don't have obviously the full race fuel, and Russ is actually out off the session. Russ is out of the race. If there's a safety car, this would really help Erlang. Or a VSC. If it lasted long enough, I don't think he's at the right part of the circuit for that. No, but again, lap 10 or 11, I'd say, if he's going on to the ultras.
Yeah, you have to say a safety car now. It'd actually help all those drivers who pitted earlier as well, who started with the ultra soft tyres, because that means they won't have to manage their softs as much. So,
Chris Johnson on 2 McLarens. James isn't making this easy at all.
James is not letting his teammate go, but Chris is going to try and go around the outside. What a move this would be. Oh, they're very close to contact, mind. Chris Johnson's going to try and run him out of road. James dives up the inside line. He doesn't need to fight this. This isn't his battle. He's holding up his teammate. And they run wide, and James is now going to find himself in a wall, and he's out of the race. And that was his own fault. He should not have fought that one. And Jacko's out as well. I don't know what's happening. It was a completely separate incident. But James did not. We do now have a virtual. And
this might help Erlang.
Where's Erlang?
He's hairpin. He's coming up to the hairpin.
Is it going to last longer? I'm sorry to James, by the way, but that was completely your fault. You should not have been fighting that. But Erlang, this virtual safety car, I don't think it could have come at a better time. And is he going to pit? He's got to pit, surely. And he does.
He has, yeah.
And it's ended. The virtual safety car's ended, though.
That's not good. It's not going to help him as much as we thought.
Jeopardy crosses the line to start lap number 10, and Erlang is in the pits.
Yeah, Force India got to make it quick then. If they don't have the VSC, he's got a 5-second stop go penalty.
Oh, of course he has, from the penalty picked up on lap number 1.
He's gone ultras, and it's a slow getaway.
I think we've got the Hasses battling, and they've just encumbered Joe Sayer into this battle. Interestingly, a little bit further down.
I think it's clearer.
Erlang is going to exit the pits in front of this little huddle.
That's what he needed.
Is Joe going to be able to get past Kim swiftly, or is he going to be stuck behind him a bit? Kim is not going to make this easy. We all know that.
Up the inside.
But actually, he did. In fairness.
Yep.
That must be his A-grade safety rating. I think that's what it was.
Yep, letting drivers through without a fuss. What did they call him?
Joe,
the Viking?
The Viking. Kim the Viking, that's the one. Yep, the... oh, shit, I can never remember what his nationality is.
He's Scandinavian.
Norwegian. He's from a north country.
He's from a country, let's just settle with that.
He's a Viking. Michael Kenny's actually run very wide there, and this is going to put Joe in a great position to try and catch him and overtake him. He runs wide again there. This is just a string of missed apexes at the moment for Michael Kenny as Joe nearly puts himself in a wall. The string of unfortunate events is actually a string of missed apexes, is the book by Michael Kenny at the moment. So as they make their way around the snail onto the main straight, Joe is just 0.8 of a second behind Michael Kenny. And although he's going to have DRS in this straight, I don't think he's going to be close enough to make a move. But will he be close enough on the start-finish straight, which is where, interestingly, obviously he got Red Bull Kim on the last lap, Michael Kenny's teammate. So Joe's recovery drive is not cancelled, it's just postponed as he gets a little bit leery on the exit of the hairpin. And but 7.5 tenths behind. I don't think he's going to be close enough down the main straight. He runs a little bit wide and gets very leery. But Joe Sayer then on the DRS. Is he going to be close enough into turns 1 or 2 to have a go on Michael Kenny? Not quite yet, but he's positioning himself very nicely to be thinking about that very, very soon.
Yeah, I think Joe's definitely got the pace to get past Michael Kenny. I do think he is a slightly quicker driver, but again, he's been on those tyres 2 laps longer than Michael Kenny. But 7 tenths behind, I think he is. I think he'll have the pace to get past. But one key thing to note is CJ in the other Renault, obviously on a march through the field as well after the Turn 1 incident, is only 2.4 behind 4th, so he could get 4th.
I wouldn't be surprised if we did see CJ claiming 4th. And I think to remember on that quite old tyres already, P3 I think it was. So his tyres were laps, and These softs, although durable, they're not magic. So he's going to be feeling that, I'm sure, in that Renault car at the moment.
Had a question.
Our championship leader. Oh, you have a question?
In the comments, yeah, using the hashtag TGB2. Does Aidan chat to Michael Kenny these days? No, haven't really spoke to him since F1 2014 when we were teammates in the Red Bull. That's about it. Paul.
Thank you very much, Mr. Comment Man. Yeah, remember do send us your questions, send us your interests. What's your name and why are you here? And we can read those out on the stream. So if you are watching, do give us a comment on the hashtag AskTGP2, and we will read out.
Erlang dying though. Back at CJ. Sorry,
questions.
he's getting very close on those ultras, but it depends how long they're going to last.
Oh, Erlang is. I did just see him set the fastest lap of the race. That just flashed up on my timing screens there. But as you said, Erlang is going to be having the tyre wear in mind of what's going to happen.
CJ's been on those softs for many laps. Even though I think
a long time he runs
the
wide
ultras are
there,
going,
doesn't he? His attention definitely isn't on fourth now. It's definitely on what's happening behind him.
Yeah, he's got to keep that Force India behind.
Yeah.
Going to be tough.
We need to see what Erlang can do. This should be easy pickings. Oh,
that's lag.
I lagged just then.
I think he's got damage.
I don't know if you had that.
Yeah, he's got damage. I think I seen some cascade come off that Force India, and I do believe
there was
that
some
might
lag,
halt
and
his
CJ's.
challenge.
I don't know if that was Erlang's lag or CJ's lag, but I can't see from that camera angle.
I think it might be CJ because he's got the wee indicator above his head, so that might have been the Renault. That's going to dampen the Force India spirits, especially on those ultras. They are going to be going off already, so there's going to be understeer. So never mind having front wing damage, especially into turn 1 and the snail section.
Very much so. We're going to have to keep an eye on Erlang then and see what he's capable of, and whether he can fight CJ and his
Baz
lag.
on the back of Red Bull Kim on those mediums, been on them since lap 1. Should be an easy
See what,
move.
interestingly, this pair are still catching Mr. John despite semi-battling. So John's not liking those soft tyres at the moment. Go on, John, put your foot down.
Round the outside.
Erlang is going to have a great run, and is he going to try and do what Chris Johnson did to his teammate? Yes, he is, and he pulls it off. What a move from Erlang round the outside of CJ. He's going to try and come back round the outside of these tricky left-handers now, but you're always going to end up going wide at both of these. But Erlang gets the job done and moves ahead of CJ for 5th place. What a move.
Fantastic move. With front wing damage, to have enough downforce and grip left in those tyres. Whether he took it flat or not, that is a fantastic move by the Force India driver. But now he's got to watch out for that Renault, who's looking feisty and wants that 5th place back.
Yeah, very much so. On the DRS then, is CJ close enough to have a go? He's going to certainly try for it, isn't he, Aidan?
Yeah, whether he's got the run, is he going to go for it? Oh, he is! He's locked up and he's gone straight on.
Oh, that was... it was always going to end like that, unfortunately, as soon as you saw him where he was on the track. You have to say, he probably had the right to go for it, but unfortunately, it probably always was going to end that way. So, we have got a battle for ninth, and it's between Red Bull Kim and our championship leader. Bazza then, is he going to sling one up the inside of Kim? Under braking, then Kim doesn't make it too difficult for him, and Bazza then makes his way up into 9th place. Runs a little bit wide on the exit, but... Kim's going to try and have a little look, but I think that is that battle done. And let's try and find our race leader when. Well, he hasn't really put a foot wrong. I'd say the only thing he's done all race, which I'd say was slightly not great, was probably turning in on Joe at turn 1, but maybe from our angle it looked like he did more than others. But we will have to wait and see whether something comes from that. However, since then, it has been easy pickings from the man from the Isle of Man. And you have to say that Luca has finally shown to us what we all thought he was going to do this year. He may have nothing left in his battery, but he's got plenty left in the battery for the title. As he makes his way around the final couple of corners, he's going to try and put his name back in the ring for the title hunt. And just one corner to go now. Luca and Sauber are winners in China. Fantastic drive from Luca there. He takes the win, a convincing victory. Nearly 9 seconds ahead of his closest challenger, Chris Johnson, who takes another podium here. That's his 4th in the last 8 seasons, if I remember rightly. Fantastic result for him. Dom Smith back on the podium in 3rd. Mr. John is going to come home just about in 4th. He holds off an attack from Erlang. As we've got CJ coming home in 6th place. Then we have a bit of a wait for Michael Kenny and his band of merry men. Coming around the last corner there, Michael is going to hold off to finish 7th. Joe Sayer will be 8th. And then we have our outgoing championship leader, Bazza. I think he'll be outgoing. Yeah, he will be just about. In 9th place. Rebel Kim's going to come home for 3 points in 10th place. And then we just got Petrolhead to come home, who will be in 11th. Aidan, thoughts on the race? What a race.
Yeah, very good. A bit messy though. I think a lot of people not, I would say, keeping it the clean-ish, but yeah, some fantastic overtaking, some fantastic defending, and you know we should expect that, you know, especially from these drivers. You know, it might be TGP2, a tier under TGP1, you know, but these are still some fantastic drivers who can pull off some fantastic moves and fantastic laps like Luca did in qualifying.
Yeah, very much so. Well, Luca becomes our 3rd different winner of the season, which is obviously great news. And there we go. Wow. So we've had 3 different pole sitters and 3 different winners. And at the moment, the only man not to have won when taking pole is Erlang, and he'll want to change that soon as the champagne flies for the top 3. Fred Vasseur, a very happy man in the pit lane. And our top 3 drivers will be very, very chuffed as well, I'm sure, as they get together for the photographs. We will give you a rundown of the order in just a moment's time.
I think Cyber will be very
happy.
There
we go. So, the Chinese Grand Prix has been won by Luca Chiapelli, nearly 9 seconds ahead of Chris Johnson. Dom Smith coming home in 3rd. Good result for him, and as far as I know, takes the lead back in the championship. Mr. John is in 4th place. Erlang down in 5th. CJ, how it all went wrong for Renault, down there in 6th. Michael Kenny, good race from him in 7th. Joe Sayer, if it rains, it pours, it seems, as he finished in 8th place. Bazza, our outgoing championship leader, in 9th. Rebel Kim in 10th. Petrolhead 11th. And then our non-finishers, James, who was battling stupidly with his teammate, Jacko in 13th. And Russ finishing in 14th there. So the Bet Noon Chinese Grand Prix, I think it was a good race. As Aidan said, a little bit scrappy. But you know, there was some signs of brilliance in there. I think Erlang's overtake stands out for me. Luca's dominant win, and I think it was just a very good race.
Yeah, fantastic race. I think the McLaren's a key point. I don't think Chris Johnson will be very happy at all.
I still don't really understand that battle. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, on 2 completely different strategies. We had a driver that was fighting to try and win, and a driver that hadn't pitted yet on knackered tyres, and they were going at it, and I just don't understand what James was thinking. I mean, yes, I know as a racing driver it's hard to switch off that part of your brain which says you've got to race, but surely he was thinking that I shouldn't be racing, I shouldn't be battling this.
Yeah, exactly. You know, he's on worn tyres, like you said. He's nowhere near challenging for the win. You know, your teammate's pitted and is already caught up to you. You're a pit stop behind 2nd place, so there's no chance in winning that race unless, you know, there's chaos in front of you or if the heavens opened. I had him last year as a teammate as well in TGP2, and I wasn't best pleased with him either. So I think me and Chris Johnson are sort of in the same boat about him at the moment, but hopefully he can sort of redeem himself at Baku. I hope he can anyway, because obviously we'd like everyone to be friends on the racetrack. So, I mean, Baku though, it's going to be a difficult circuit.
It's going to be interesting for sure to see which driver fancies themselves to be brave between the walls as we head back to Baku for hopefully a fantastic race. It never disappoints before. There's some cracking races over the years here in TGP2 and in TGP1, and so it's going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top tonight. Are we going to have 4 poles? This is from 4 races. Are we going to have 4 race winners from 4 races? This is the season that Bernie Eccleston promised us in TGP2. And so far, I have to say, he's delivering on his promise.
Apart from his leading the championship, maybe he's scripted it a bit there, but
I think we can forgive him for that a little bit at the moment. Give it a few races, we might go back to some form of conspiracy theory, but I'm still getting the people to write a good enough one of those up at the moment. So there we go. So as the clock ticks to 2 minutes past 8 in the evening, thank you all for still joining us. All 11 we've got on the stream. All 11 of you. Thank you for joining us.
Taking this time out your evening to listen to us two.
Yes. Yeah. So thank you. So let's see what Baku can. Hopefully, it provides us some good quality, exciting entertainment. And obviously a good race as well, obviously one of those.
I think it'll deliver a very good race, because it's one of those circuits where if there's a lapse in concentration, you're pretty much going in the wall. So it's going to be concentration 100% in qualifying and in the race. There's a lot of 90-degree corners, there's a lot of high curbs which will unsettle the car, maybe throw you into another car, maybe throw you into the wall. So one error on this track and you're going in the wall. Especially the castle section.
Yeah, very much so. You got, as you said, you've got to keep your wits about you, and make sure that you're on target in every single corner. Because as you said, as soon as you just lose the slightest bit of concentration, that is it. You are in a wall, and through areas like the castle, and even those high speed left-handers you got towards the end of sector 2 there. If you make a slight mistake, then you do see a wall coming at you a lot quicker than you had been thinking it would be.
Yeah, a lot less space than in China. You know, if you run wide in China, there's going to be grass or gravel, which will slow you down but won't give you the best of grip, where here it's just walls. So you're damaging the car.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be one to watch out for sure. Sorry, I'm just going to have to get a bit of water. The lurgy has caught me, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, so hence the slightly odd voice as well.
It's fine. I should have entertained them for a minute or so.
Oh, we've got a yellow flag in sector 1. I think someone's outbraked themselves.
It's cleared now, though.
Yeah, it all seems to have sorted itself out. Quite a gaggle of cars at the moment at the end of sector 1 as well.
Yeah, a lot of cars going into the castle.
Russ and a Sauber.
One thing to note here as well, it's a very long straight, so you can set up the car to be good in the corners, but you're going to lose a lot of time in the middle sector. See, it is like 90% flat out in the middle sector, so you're braking for one corner to set yourself up. Or you can set it up for the straights where you'll be very slow in the corners, the car will be unstable, but you'll gain a lot of time going down that straight. So we can currently see Michael Kenny doing that. I believe he's on a lap. I got round pretty quickly if he is.
I think Michael Kenny is just starting a lap.
Just starting one, okay.
You are right there. So down into turn 1. The Haas driver then. Let's see what he can do. You have to make sure you don't run too wide onto that curb there. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3. Bazza is out. I'd love to know what's happened to him, but I don't.
We might find out, because I'm currently with Mike, so he might go past Bazza and his stricken car, if he has put it in the wall.
Excuse me. So I don't know what's happened there. Where's Michael Kenny? How's he getting on? He's just coming to the end of sector number 1 then. So Michael Kenny for sector 1 does a 36.1.
Oh, he's hit that curb. You don't want to touch that curb at all. You want to stay off those trampolines, as Danny Kvyat said. Don't want to go on those curbs at all. The ones on the ground, well, they're all on the ground, but the flat ones are all right. Oh, Michael Kenny's in the castle.
He's in the wall.
Oh, that's ruined that lap.
And has he got some damage? He's got a little bit of damage on the side of the end plate there. He was very lucky not to lose a tyre, you have to say.
I think that lap is now finished then. Just Sayre on a lap then, coming through the castle section. Sometimes it's better, as my teammate said during the race, to take it slower than quicker through there. Don't rush it.
Very much so. You need to keep your wits about you around there.
Yeah, and once you've then done the castle section, you've then got the right hand right at the very top. So if you have taken the castle section too quick, you're then going to go straight on at the top instead of actually turning right, which then obviously slows you down for turning into the left-hand turn as Joe's hit the wall.
Joe's hit the wall.
I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that there from Joe Sayer.
Jacko has also retired out there somewhere in between sector 2 and 3.
I think it was Joe Sayer then.
I think that will be on the fast left-handers. As Chiapelli does a 40.6 on the super softs, what's Joe going to do? A 40.9. We've got Russ coming up to the line now. What's he going to do? He does a 45.9. CJ's backed out of his lap. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3.
Trying to find out what that is.
I think that was for CJ actually coming into the pit.
I believe Chris Johnson's on a lap. Then he'll want to definitely qualify his team now.
He is? Yes,
he is,
yes.
yeah.
Chris Johnson is on that.
Took a while for the timing screen to pop up there.
Yeah, 35.3 from sector 1 for Chris Johnson there.
Avoided the curb on the inside. It's exactly what you want to do. Even the slightest little touch is going to throw the car up because that curve is huge.
No one expects it, I think, as well. Every single lap you sort of forget, I think.
Yeah.
That was perfect through the castle section.
I think the curbs are quite inconsistent in here as well. You know, there's some that are low, there's some that are high, which will throw the car around.
Very much so. Chris Johnson then on a very good lap so far.
Hit the wall, I think.
He just about keeps it out of the wall there. Gosh, anyone else breathe in?
I thought he hit it, but that might be the spectator cam. So
through the middle sector. Yellow flag out there in sector 1. Very nice and tidy this so far from Chris Johnson then. As he's going to come up to the line. The long stretch down to the line. This is where it's going to tell whether he's got any battery left. But Chris Johnson then, can he beat a 1 minute 40.6?
He can.
He does, so a 1 minute 40.3. So Chris Johnson then, the pace setter of the first 6 minutes. And yeah, very good run that from Chris. He was neat and tidy, kept it in the lines, kept it off the big curbs, and did what he had to do.
So I say, is he going for another lap there? But no, he's got the ERS turned down to 0 and he's about to run out of fuel. One thing we haven't really seen here, and which was what I was expecting to see, is the likes of the Saubers and the Renaults maybe giving each other a tow down that straight, because you can gain a lot of time doing that. Dom is out there though, so maybe Lucat might come out at some point to give Dominic the tow.
Maybe, just maybe. We'll have to see how that goes in a moment's time.
Michael Kenny back out there on an outlap. Repaired that front wing, got the car back out, and hopefully will not spin it in the castle.
From Michael Kenny. Dom Smith taking it very leisurely as well. Can't say I blame him. We've got Petrolhead out there on an outlap as well. And Mr. John's out there on a lap. I think.
Oh, Michael!
He getting on?
He's out. I caught that. That is him out off qualifying. Lost the rear through the left-right part of the circuit. I had to visualise that in my head. Lost the rear.
There's quite a lot of those.
And you're not the final sector, you're not saving it there once you go for a spin. You might get lucky and just knock off the front wing, but he has ripped that front off, and the wheel tether's doing a very good job to stop that wheel from bouncing across the circuit.
Very good. Very good indeed. Dom Smith is coming on to start his lap now. So through the left, right that Michael Kenny ran out of talent on, and onto the main straight then. So Dom Smith, he's got a 40.3 to beat. His current lap is an 8 minute and 3 second lap, so a good effort from Dom, considering the session isn't 8 minutes old yet. But here we go then. Turn 1. Hard on the brakes. Left-hander, tried to avoid a curb. We've got a car off straight ahead of us. I'm not sure who that is.
It's Russ, I believe.
Kim.
Thought that was a Ferrari. It was Russ.
Yep, no, sorry. Yep, it was Russ. My apologies. So Dom then, what's his sector 1 time going to be like? Through the edge of sector 1 now. These tricky chicanes and curbs can catch you out in an instant, and it's a 35.4, so he's a 10th off of Chris Johnson in sector 1. As he makes his way up now to the tightest point of the track. This is always a very difficult corner to get right as well. He keeps it out of the wall nicely. And how is he going to approach the castle section? Is he going to go with full force? A little bit cautious, and can't say I blame him. Maybe a little bit wider through that section than Chris Johnson was. So let's see what his middle sector time is going to be like. Through these fast left-handers now, which can catch you out so easy. And this is such a tricky braking zone. Dom Smith does it very well. Takes a lot of curve on the exit as well. And through sector 2, he does a 35.4, so he's a 10th up on Chris Johnson. So they're about neck and neck at this point. Who is running the less amount of wing?
I think he hit the curb as well
most battery
before
left?
going on to here. That might have cost him that little bit just after the split.
Let's see what sort of lap time. Petrolhead's done a 2 minute and 2.4. Actually, that could see him high up on the grid at the moment.
He's out of VRS.
Dom Smith then across the line, a 40.6, and he's just ahead of his teammate. So he lost out in the last sector as his teammate comes out of the pits.
Well, I would like to get your opinion on this actually before CJ comes across the line. He's currently in the middle sector. James, Chris Johnson's teammate, and if you didn't see in China, held him up massively and crashed out due to, I'd say, his own fault. And I'm pretty sure Mike would agree with me there. He's just put in the chat saying he was trying to let Chris through. He had his ERS on none, but his tyres were cooked and was heading for a pit stop. It didn't look like that though, did it? Looked like he was defending.
In all honesty, seemed like there was a little bit of battling going on there, but obviously we don't know quite to the extent.
I think it's CJ though.
Either way, it didn't go well. Let's put it that way.
No, it didn't. Well, not for James anyway.
But CJ is actually on a very competitive lap at the moment, and I think we could be about to see him take provisional.
He's got a lot of VRS. That's a,
and he does on a 40.0.
He was running overtake.
Just under 3 tenths.
That's insane.
His advantage.
He was running overtake there towards the end of that straight, and still had like a quarter of his ERS left. He must be running low or something at some part of the circuit. That's incredible how he's got that much left. Because I struggled with just running hot lap. Never mind 4. So that's it's quite insane from CJ, but a very good lap.
That's very good effort there from CJ. I have to say. So with 6.5 minutes to go, he is our provisional pole sitter. CJ, so CJ is provisional pole. Chris Johnson's in the pits. Dom Smith is on an in lap. No, Dom Smith is about to start another hot lap then, but he's got no battery.
I think he's just finished one. I'm not entirely sure though.
Not sure what's happening there, but Chiapelli has just started a lap, however. So let's see.
Unless he's giving Luca the tow.
Maybe, but he's quite far back, so Dom's going to have to back off quite a bit and make sure he's in that right gap on the main straight.
Yeah, I don't think he'll give him the tow through these parts of the circuit. The dirty air is going to unsettle Luca. I think, Dom will probably have his foot down. This might be the spare set of Ultra Softs. He'll probably have his foot down, and then once he gets to round about the end of Sector 2 to Sector 3, the split, that's when he might start to back off and give Luca that tow. Because I think given this whole round here, at this part of the circuit anyway, where you suffer understeer because of the low speeds, it's just going to hurt Luca in his lap time.
Could you see a flash of Dom Smith in the background there? Luca very neat and tidy through the castle section. Luca now has the Ultra Soft runs very wide.
Just
there.
Keeps that out of the wall.
His first run.
That was incredible.
He did very well there.
Oh, he's hit the wall.
And he has hit the wall there though.
That's not going to help your lap time. But again, the tow with Dom might help. I don't think
Dom has backed off just about enough. And I tell you what, it's still he's about a 10th off in the middle section where he want to be, and Dom's not done enough. Or has he? Is he going to put his foot down now?
Dirty air through here is going to be horrendous. I can just see a cyber in the wall. He's kept it nice though. Oh, if they both went to the right, that would have been incredible.
I don't think that's gone. That's not gone to plan.
It's going to be very close here, actually.
10. He misses out. He goes second.
He improved by half a second.
40.2, and that definitely helped him in the last sector, though. It was very visible to see, but a very sloppy middle sector from Chiapelli.
I think the thing now here is, because Luca's lap wasn't the cleanest, Does Sauber now go out and say, well, there's room for Luca to improve? Do they send Dom out ahead of him again to give him that token hope Luca can snatch pole, or does Luca repay the favour now to Dom to try and get both Saubers up there when they could potentially get to pole position?
Well, you'd hope to think that they repaid the favour, but you never really know. I mean, both drivers are up there at the moment. It's not as if we've got one driver up there and one not. So we'll have to wait and see.
Here comes Joe. He's boxing. Not many people out on circuit at the moment. Well, and if they are, they're on an in-lap or an out-lap.
So with 3.5 minutes to go,
Luca going again?
Well, I think what he's doing, he's putting his foot down to get into the pits on time.
Ah, okay, I see. He's upshifting quite a lot as well. I think he's trying to save the fuel. 3 minutes and 24 remaining in this qualifying session here at Baku. Who will take pole? Will it be a Renault? Will it be a Sauber? Could even be a McLaren, but I doubt it'll be a Haas. Sorry, Rebelkin.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. We've still got two drivers haven't set laps yet, and that's John and Erlang, who are out on laps. And interestingly,
Dom's gone out.
Supers. Dom has now gone out. I think we're about to see Luca coming to the pits for the quickest pit stop in qualifying history.
He should make it.
He has got about a minute.
Close.
And this is touch and go.
It's just going to be incredible if he can get out again.
He needs to be out in about 50 seconds' time.
Yeah, he's got to leave. He's got to be at turn 1, I'd say, by at least 140. Because obviously the line isn't at turn 1. So I think as long as he leaves the pit lane by about 140, he should be okay. I'm actually keeping an eye on him, and he's just getting wheeled into the garage now. This is going to be close. A Renault's actually been stopped to let the McLaren out. And I believe that was Joe Sayer, maybe? Was Joe... Yes, it was Joe Sayer, who was held for the McLaren. But I'm still keeping an eye on Luca. I want to see if he's going to get out. Just keeping an eye on that garage. He's the only person in the pit lane at the moment. 2 minutes now on the clock. I believe I see movement in that Sauber garage.
Luca's going to have to put in a mighty outlap.
Got about 10 seconds to get out the pit lane, and the guy's coming out. I think he might just make it, and there he is. Coming down the pit lane. And across the pit lane now, and he is out with 140 at turn 1. It's going to be very close. That's what I said.
I'll tell you what though, Erlang's just done a 35.2 for Sector 1. That is a lightning Sector 1 time. Erlang on the super soft tyres.
Got traffic though.
Is he a dark horse for pole? Or is he going to take away CJ's provisional pole and our 4th pole sitter of the season in 4 races?
Well, that Renault, I think, got out the way
does
on
get
the
out the way very nicely there.
Yeah. Could have been a bit worse than what I seen, but definitely that Renault moved left a bit.
And he's got a lot of track. And actually, the McLaren's just going around the final corner might give him a nice juicy toe.
Yeah, that McLaren's going to want to start a lap, so he's going to have to keep his foot down. So this might help the Force India dramatically as we now tick down to 45 seconds.
Oh, and he's clipped the wall.
He has hit the wall, yeah. That might cost him.
Well, he's shedding off the downforce for the start-finish line. And where's this lap going to put Erlang? This has been a mighty quick lap. It's just going to put him on provisional pole.
It does.
It is. It's a
half
39.4.
That is incredible.
0.6 of a second.
Where is Luca? Is he going to make this?
No, he's not.
Cruising.
He's backed out of it.
Yeah.
I think he's going to wait and give Dom a toe.
Where is Dominic? I think he is. But is there enough time, though, for Luca to control that car? Oh, he's at the wall.
Dom slowed down as well.
He's got it in overtake mode. He's still pushing. I think he's still going. Qualifying is now finished. Luca's car is now going flat out because Luca's no longer in control.
Oh, no. This has not worked well for Sauber.
It might still work.
Luca's taken off.
Yeah. Luca's gone. It might still work for Dominic. Dominic.
What Dom can
is he
do.
pitting? He's pitting.
No, yeah, see, his lap's gone.
Where's CJ though? This is the 35.4 in the first sector.
That's 0.2 slower than Erlang. Bit hesitant through the castle.
It's all or nothing now.
What can he do?
Got Chris Johnson's actually going to hit the line before him.
Joe's gone second. Joe's gone P2, 39.8.
3 tenths off. Where can Chris Johnson go though in that Papaya McLaren?
It's a 35.4 for CJ in the middle sector as he gets a little bit leery on the exit there. Has he got enough left in the battery? Has he got? He's gone on to overtake mode. Chris Johnson does a 39.5. He just misses out by half a tenth.
CJ looks
Where
like
will CJ go?
Oh no, it looked like he was struggling there to get up the thing, up the miles per hour.
He does a.
Pole.
He's done it! It's a 39.2. CJ takes pole at the last moment.
What a lap!
And we have our 4th pole sitter in 4 races. Fantastic lap from the Renault driver. It was all
incredible.
or nothing, as Aiden said. And it worked out in his favour. So then, a run down the order. CJ takes pole from Erlang in P2. Looked like he'd done it. Chris Johnson in P3, good result for him. Joe Sayre P4. The 2 Saubers occupy row number 3. They'll both be disappointed with that, I'm sure. Red Bull Kim, great qualifying from Kim in 7th. Russ in 8th place. Petrolhead in 9th. We said that 2-minute 2, actually getting quite hard at the grid. Jacko in 10th. John 11th. Michael Kenny 12th. Bazza in 13th. And James joined us late, so didn't set a time either. He'll start from 14th.
So this is going to be an
qualifying that was come the end. The quick time, the track rubbed in so well though. The quick times are coming in left, right, and centre.
Yeah, the super softs on the second row of the grid. That is, I know he got the toe, but he also did hit the wall, which is going to cost him that little bit of time. That's fantastic though. And then for CJ, what was it, 2 tenths down or something in the first sector to then still go get pole, but without a toe. He must be running no front wing or rear wing. That Renault must be slippery on a straight line. Which is something we've never really said about a Renault. They're not normally the quickest cars in the straight line, but
no, it's a mega lap there from the man who takes his first pole position in a long, long time, and it's a welcome return to pole position for CJ. So let's we wait now for the drivers to finish getting ready, and we get ready for the start of the race. Right then, 3, 4, 5 lights in Azerbaijan. And we're underway in TGP2. It's a good start from the front two. Maybe a little bit better from Chris Johnson in 3rd, and the Saubers are getting racy behind as they filter their way through turn number 1. It's getting a little bit claustrophobic at the back there. However, they all make it through at the moment safely. Erlang's going to have to go on the attack as Kim's diving one at the inside and hits into Dom Smith. And Kim there is still hitting Dom, and now they've spun round and they've collected a few cars in the background as well. It's a disaster for Kim, who had a great qualifying, and Dom's lost most of his front wing. He will not be happy with that. Further up the field, Chris Johnson's run wide and lost a bit of his front wing, and that opens the door up for Chiapelli and Joe very nicely. Chris Johnson lost a bit of time, but it's CJ who holds his lead at the front. Dom's got a 5-second penalty. It's all kicking off further back. Dom's now lost his full front wing. I don't know what's happened there. Someone has anyway. I don't really know. Looking further forward, Dom's still got half of his front wing then. What a disastrous start that was for one of the Sauber drivers. The other one is way up to 3rd. Aiden, what do you think?
Just like China, very restless at turn. I thought, well, I wouldn't say turn 1. I thought turn 1 was quite clean. It got very close though between a lot of drivers, and Red Bull Kim, I think, just forgotten what the brake pedal was going into turn 2. And he's clattered one of the Saubers. I mean, we had...
and CJ's front wide. It's issue for CJ.
He's taken off some end plate.
Oh, and Erlang's made a little mistake now. Chiapelli's on the back of him as Bazza's out from 9th. And there's going to be 4 cars battling for first going into turn 1.
This is incredible stuff. Keep it clean, boys. We've already had far too many accidents at the start of this Grand Prix. Please keep it clean as he's in the DRS.
Chiapelli is poised. He's waiting for his opportunity.
The 2 Renaults.
The Sauber driver. There's 2 Renaults side by side as well, and Erlang's car is very slippery in a straight line because Chiapelli's pulling out and losing ground. Oh, and there's contact. Oh, there was contact there.
The 2 Renaults have benefited from that incredibly. This
Massively.
is the race they're wanting now. They need to redeem themselves after China. Whether Joe hit Luca, whether Joe then hit CJ at turn 1, that's all now forgotten. We're into race 2, race 4 of the season, and the two Renaults sitting second and third. This is exactly what they needed at the moment, as James has had enough and left this session. But will there be team orders down at Renault? Maybe. Are they happy with second and third at the moment, or do they want to catch the leader?
We'll have to wait and see. I don't know what happens. Kim's got a 5-second penalty. I don't know what happened between Chiapelli and Erlang, whether there was just some ever so slight contact. I haven't seen any damage on either of their cars, but the Renaults are going to be very racy behind. But Luca is actually pulling out a bit of a lead on the two of them now. So Luca, from starting 5th, the end of lap 1, found himself leading. What a fantastic start he had. Further down the order, obviously, Dom Smith down in 10th, disaster for him. John in 11th. Rebel Kim is in the pits in 12th. Russ, another man, again making up a lot of positions on lap number 1. Chris Johnson, we saw him take some damage, but he is now battling with Erlang, who, as I said, I can't see any damage on his car, but definitely is falling back a little bit there. Maybe lost his head a little bit as well. Joe Sayer still keeping in touch with his teammate, but I have to say, Chiapelli's lead now, nearly 2 seconds. We had a yellow flag very briefly there in sector 2. It's come back out again. I wonder what that was for. Oh, we've got a car. Dom Smith is it? Oh, no, it's not. It's Petrolhead. Petrolhead is straight on at the castle, so struggling there. And are we going to see Joe Sayer try and sling one up the inside of his teammate, with Chris Johnson going to try and have a go on Erlang behind us? Chiapelli set the fastest out of the race to extend his lead to 2.2, as Joe Sayer is going to look up the inside of his teammate and thinks better of it in the end, but Chris Johnson doesn't and gets up into 4th.
Yeah, fantastic move by the McLaren. I was switching between the two, didn't know who to watch, the two Reynolds of Chris Johnson and Erlang, but again, Joe can't quite get past his teammate. Again, it's only lap 3, got a bit of a gap to Chris Johnson. Also, we don't know how good his pace is compared to the Renault, as he's only just overtaken 5th, but 1.6 the gap to Joe Sayer, and I think the Reynolds won't be wanting that McLaren catching him anytime soon. I think Luca, though, I think if he keeps it on the island, I think it's his. I don't think those Reynolds are quick enough.
DRS coming into play as well now, that will give the I'll give the extra few mile an hour to all the drivers down the straights when within a second of the car in front. So very interesting to see and keep an eye on them and what's going on there. So make our way through the castle section again. No errors for the top 3. 4 and 5 getting through nicely as well, as the field just starting to string out a little bit now. Looking down, there's some big gaps away from the top 5. 7 seconds back to Michael Kinney in 6th, and a further 6 back to Jacko. 15 back to
the Reynolds getting quite close. Again, Joe's hit the wall. Whether I don't think he has damaged that right end plate, but that's not going to help the car at all.
CJ even clipped the wall a little bit there as well, as Joe now poised perfectly to his teammate. But this is where we're seeing this fantastic straight line sees from CJ. Joe's getting very close, but not close enough. I'll tell you what, he's close enough now, isn't he? Blimey, that wasn't hard.
He was pretty much changing gears for him before the DRS line. That was... I'll tell you what, he's got some balls to get that close to your teammate.
CJ pits.
CJ is in then. I'm
interested
to see if he comes out in
CJ
clean air.
comes into the pits. Is anyone else going to join him? No, they don't.
Going to keep an eye on him. Anyway. I want to see if he comes out in clean air. This could be key for Renault.
He's changing his front wing. He's changing his front wing
change. It's not going to help him. Supers go on though, and he's going to drop down the order. That's a very long pit stop for a front wing change. There's the green light, and he drives out of his pit box.
He's going to come out in 7th. I think he should be clear of Russ. He will be clear of Russ.
I think the undercut can be quite powerful here, if it is obviously done right. But with that front wing change, has cost himself an extra 7 or so seconds, but it's come out in clean air in P7, 6 seconds.
It's only the other top 5 going to change their wings. Well, we saw damage to Chris Johnson. We don't know whether Erlang has damage or Joe. I'm pretty sure Luca has got away with it so far. But,
Michael Kenny has some damage.
We don't know about the other members of the front brigade.
We don't. Hopefully they can just keep it clean, sort of take the cars home. We want to see some battling, but we don't want to see people retiring. I think Erlang has just lagged closer to Chris Johnson, a second behind.
So then, let's see what they can do. Is anyone going to pit this lap then? Lap number 4. Pit window very much open as Joe clips the wall again. Chris Johnson and Erlang filtering their way through as well as the top 4 even starting to get a little bit spread out now. Erlang within DRS of Chris Johnson. Obviously you have to remember Erlang is on the super soft tyres, will be able to go that a little bit further into his stint. Baz has left the session. Disastrous day for him. It all looked so promising last week, and it's all gone to pot this time, isn't it? You have to say, poor guy.
Joe stays out.
Yep, Luca is in, and he said Joe stays out.
That's key in this race.
Yep, so we have our third different race leader already. The Renault mechanics have come out into the pits. Oh no, that was McLaren mechanics. Oh, Chris Johnson's in. Chris Johnson, my apologies. Chris Johnson is in the pits as well.
Changing a front wing. That's going to help Luca even more. So I think for a challenge for this race,
see where he comes out in relation.
We need to see
CJ's gone through. Wow. Okay.
He has, yeah. He's
CJ's done a mega outlap.
Has Joe made the wrong call? Is the undercut seriously that powerful round Baku? That
I wouldn't have thought it would have been, but at the moment it is. Because CJ's put a huge gap between him and Chris now, 6.6 seconds.
Luca's only 14 behind Joe.
CJ was very quick, obviously. He got pole, but still, that's a mega outlap from CJ.
Yeah, Luca is sort of... he's jumping between 13 and 14 at the moment, and I think Joe Sayer might... I don't think he'll get jumped by his teammate, but I think he'll be further behind Luca than what he was maybe expecting or wanting to be. 13.6 now, the gap was 14.1.
Joe has to change his front wing or not. I think mainly where Joe will come out in relation to his teammate, who's still flying out there and closing in on the Red Bull of Jacko now.
There we go. Luca's almost gained a second on that lap. Joe, I think, has to call it quits this time. Unless he wants to fresher tyres, but even with the fresher tyres, I don't think he will be quick enough to actually catch Luca. Is Joe going to come in? I believe he is. He is.
Yes.
Joe is in. Very cautious on the entry.
Watch CJ then. CJ is just coming through the quick left-right at the moment.
He's getting a toe as well. It's going to help him.
And he will have DRS. He'll have a toe. Nice fresh tyres. Where's Joe at the moment? He is just leaving his box. So, CJ is coming up to the start-finish line. Joe didn't change his front wing. Has CJ's outlap's been that good? I tell you what.
Joe stayed ahead.
No, they haven't.
I don't think Joe has damage to his front wing. I think it's only. I think it was only CJ. Joe did clatter the wall, but I think he sort of hit it at the right angle where it didn't really affect his car.
Oh, we've got a slow-moving petrol head.
Getting out of the way of his teammate then to lap down his petrol head, 34 seconds behind Red Bull Kim, who's full lock for some incredible reason. I think it'll be interesting to see if Russell can catch Dominic for P7.
The field very much settling down now, and one man who's settled down very nicely is Luca Chiapelli. 5 seconds between himself and his nearest challenger. Erlang just 8 seconds up the road on the same tyres, but Luca's are 4 laps younger.
Interesting to see when he calls it though, to go on to those ultra softs.
Because they didn't look too bad on the tyres of the front runners who came in early. So
no,
we've got yellow flag out there in sector 2. Who's that for?
It's been cleared.
Oh, we've got Kim's. Oh no, Michael Kenny's round, and he's damaged his front wing. That's going to need a box.
I think he already had damage. Ah, he's gone at the castle.
Oh, jeez. Very nearly.
He did already have damage. Whether he fixed it at the pit stops, didn't quite see if he did or not. But I think even if he had fixed the front wing, he's got even worse damage than what he had at the start of the race. Not good then for the Haas driver at all. Another yellow flag in sector 1.
Got a yellow flag in sector 1.
Not quite sure what that's for.
No, it's gone in now, whatever it was.
Still waiting then for 2 drivers to box.
Yep, as Aidan said then, we've got Erlang still out there, and we also have Jacko still out there, who haven't pitted yet. What an odd race this has been, I must say. The field stringing themselves out again so quick. Sorry, I stood on my mic. Field stringing themselves out so quickly. Again, even after the pit stops. I mean, we already have big gaps between everyone looking down the field. So, not what you normally expect in a circuit like this, I have to admit, Aidan. But, yep, still a long way to go. We've still got a lot of action to come, I'm sure. But, yeah, surprising so far.
Yeah, I thought, a circle like this, there's a massive straight. There's going to be a lot of drivers, there's going to be what we call a DRS train, where everyone has the DRS and people are just going to be switching every lap. We're not really seeing that in this race. I thought this is probably one of the circuits, a bit like Monza with that long straight. Everyone's sort of really close together. They've all got the DRS. Slipstream's very powerful. We haven't really seen that though, and I think that's quite surprising. I think a lot of people have fallen out of DRS, which obviously then they're struggling to then crawl back into that 1 second, or they're just dropping out the slipstream, which again I was kind of hoping we'd see the likes of the DRS trains, but still a very good race nonetheless.
One thing I have noticed is that the gap between Erlang and Chiapelli has barely changed since the pit stops, or since Chiapelli sort of has pitted there. So I don't think Erlang's tyres are in that bad a state, and that also proves that the tyre wear isn't probably that bad either. So Chiapelli maybe pitting a little bit earlier, maybe wasn't a huge mistake.
Mr. John's out.
Mr. John's out.
Try and find out what happened there. Michael Kenny's out.
Same
part of the circuit.
Oh
no, he's not.
Jeez.
He's kept the tyre intact. I'll tell you what, that tyre must be screaming for help after that. That was incredible how he's kept that car intact.
I have no idea how Michael Kenny's still in the race.
Battle for
I have
fifth.
no idea how Haas have any front wings left, considering the drivers.
I think he's just let the McLaren through.
Quickly. And I tell you what, Chiapelli's just taken half a second out of Erlang there, so maybe Erlang's tyres starting to fade now. Could we see him box at the end of this lap? You then have 5 laps to do on the ultra soft tyres.
The thing I have noticed with Erlang, going through that final sector, he's lifting. I don't think he's got enough confidence in the car. He's been doing it for what I can remember, so pretty much the whole race. He stays out. I don't think he's got much confidence in that car, but we did see it was quite slippery in a straight line, so maybe he's just taking all downforce off that and going through there. He must be clenching, because that car looks so undrivable through that final sector. I don't like watching it.
We've got some sympathy tensors going on in the commentary box.
That was incredible. Like, I don't understand how people do that. I like a nice stable car, not one that's a rocket.
Well, we'll have to see how he gets on. Hopefully, for Force India's sake, he can keep it out of the walls and pick up some good points here. Whether he'll get on the podium or not, I think is yet to be seen. Obviously, you'd lose quite a lot of time in the pit lane here, because obviously it's a long straight you're going down on, but it's quite a heavy braking zone at the end of it. However, there is still a lot of time to be lost.
Michael's out.
Yellow flag out in sector 2.
Not quite sure where he's gone off. I've gone with Petrolhead to try and find out, but I can't quite see where Michael has
down. It's
finished.
Down just at the it's just down the second of the fast lefts before the end of sector 2.
We'll find out very shortly. But one key thing to note here about Erlang in the Force India, the gap now actually has come down within 7 seconds. But whether he boxes this lap, he could come out in P3 because P4 or P3, yeah, because CJ's 20 seconds
between P3 or P4, I think.
Yeah, I think Joe's comfortably got him. I think Luca will take the lead back. Joe will take second. But whether he can get third, because the pit lane isn't that long here, and 20 seconds again isn't that big of a gap when it comes to obviously a driver pitting and a driver not pitting.
And Erlang obviously isn't now in the pit.
It's going to be close though. It's staying with him though. I want to see where he comes out. Can he get ahead of the Renault? There goes Joe.
Oh, there's a bit of a hesitation there.
Where's CJ? Is he just coming up to the grid slots?
It's going to be very, very close. I think Erlang's done it.
Oh, this is going to be incredible.
CJ sliding round turn number 1, and it's going to be very, very close.
He's done it.
CJ holds on. He will get DRS. And who's going to win down into turn number 3? Erlang's got it turned up to max, as I imagine CJ has as well. But CJ's tyres have warmed up. Erlang's hasn't. But Erlang holds on to it for now. So good strategy call there from the Force India team, and a good first stint has ensured that Erlang holds or takes a podium position, you have to say, actually, from the Renault driver, who goes very wide through the corner there and loses a chunk of time.
don't think he's got enough time though to catch Joe. I think it would have been interesting to see if he can, but I think, like I said earlier, if CJ can stick with the Force India, we might see. Whoa, he gets very closer to the wall. He might have been sticking it in the castle section, never mind sticking with Erlang. But if he can stay in the DRS, he might be able to keep up. But that Force India is absolutely rapid on those new tyres, and especially with no downforce, it is pretty much irrelevant on the straight line. That thing is rapid.
Yeah, very much so. Erlang knows exactly how to use the car. He's already gapped CJ to over 2.5 seconds. So he knows what he's doing with the piece of machinery he has under himself. But very much the closest battle we have on the track at the moment is between Jacko and Russ. So let's see what's going on between those two. Filtering their way through now through the fast left-handers. The Ferrari and the Red Bull. Let's see what they can do. And Michael Kenny's left the session, retiring out earlier on. Onto the main straight then. Are we going to see a change for 7th place? Russ runs a little bit wide. Jacko doesn't get the best of exits either.
Quite far back, but this is a very long straight, and if you can get the run right, he had to lift as well, or he's upshifted mid-corner.
I'll tell you what, he's nailed
Russ
that left
is
right
slow.
there, hasn't he?
Oh!
Oh, and there's contact! Oh, and he's out! Disaster for Jacko! It was looking so good!
I think that's Russ's fault. I was riding on board there with Jacko, and he's followed him. You know, he's in a slipstream. Jacko moves to the left-hand side, and then as he moves to the left, Russ has swiped him. Obviously, whether it's different, obviously on their screens, compared to the spectator cam, but I do believe Russ is at fault for that one, and I'm pretty sure Jacko will not be happy with that at all. Chris Johnson's catching
Well, that
CJ,
was a great
though.
shame. Because not only is that Jacko out of the race from potential 7th place, but that was also our closest battle on track.
Yeah. And he absolutely nailed that final sector as well. You know, he was right up that Ferrari.
He through that quick left-right, he'd done something right for sure. Because he was right where he needed to be to put Russ under pressure there, and unfortunately, it didn't quite go to plan. So, we've now got Chris Johnson just over a second behind CJ.
Hit the curb.
This second stint has very much not gone the way that CJ would have planned.
I think Chris Johnson might have knocked off an end plate. Not the full end plate, but might have knocked off something because I believe he hit the wall.
32-0.
That's incredible.
Lap there.
Absolutely incredible. And he is... The gap's come down from 11 to 3. We might have a battle for second on here. Erlang's
very
flying.
Much so. That Force India is right where it needs to be.
I am amazed that he's managed to pull that back so quickly. That's incredible. It's absolutely flying. Maybe Joel's overheated those tyres. And Erlang obviously on the first Ultras.
You have to wonder, but Erlang, as you said there, is absolutely flying and is putting himself right where he needs to be. He's got a lap and a half left
half
to do
round,
it.
sorry. You almost said a 180 there. CJ. Chris Johnson now all over the back of him. I think he just turned in too early and hit the rear left off the wall, which nearly put him into a full 180. Lucky to get away with that.
CJ is really struggling, isn't he? You can see the car visibly unstable.
Who do we watch? We've got Chris Johnson trying to take 4th and Erlang trying to take 2nd. This is incredible. Both the
let's
Renaults.
Keep an eye on Chris Johnson at the moment.
Here
with
he goes.
3 attempts. This is a very close. And is he going to try and move into the tricky left-hander? He thinks better of it now, but surely onto the main straight or even into the last real corner here. He's going to definitely think about it. Chris Johnson
incredible.
Then. Onto this main straight. Chiapelli has started his last lap of the race since taking the lead on that run. He's back at this contact and they're both in the wall and Chris Johnson is out. And disaster there. And and CJ's got a penalty. But it's a heartbreak for Chris and Russ. And that's a shame. That's a huge shame. Chris Johnson had such a positive start to the season.
Sorry to stop you.
And back to the battle for second. Because that is very much not over.
What I think happened there with CJ, actually, before Erlang overtakes Joe. Sorry, Joe. He's going to get you, though. One thing, what I think has happened there, they've gone through the final sector, and we've seen CJ struggling. he must have overheated those rears. So when he's gone in to that flat out corner, the tyres can't take it. They've had enough, and he's had to brake to stop the car going in the wall. And as he's braked, Chris Johnson obviously unsighted through that corner, and has just rear-ended him and gone in the wall. I think that's two incidents now we've seen there.
And Joe's gone very deep there, and that could put him under pressure. Erlang is low on fuel, mind. This is going to be really tricky because, of course, we've got Luca coming round to win the race, inevitably, if he doesn't put it in the wall. Hopefully he doesn't. But Erlang is all over the back of Joe and has only really got 2 more opportunities left.
I think Erlang's just sitting.
And here's one of them.
Sitting, waiting. Going to have to go to Luca, though.
Luca, he has not looked back ever since lap 1. He has done what he needed to do and will become the first repeat winner of season 21 in TGP2. Luca wins in Baku. Fantastic race from him. Let's watch back for the second, though. Erlang is doing what he needs to do. He's got the overspeed. Will he done it? He does.
He's done it. No, he hasn't.
Doesn't.
Has he got a penalty?
How did he not?
Does he have a penalty?
He must have had a penalty, because I'm sure that Erlang took Joe before the line.
Yeah. He must have a penalty.
Well, that one's to be decided clearly. Joe holds on for second somehow. Erlang, after his fantastic recovery drive, will be third. CJ, what a race it's been for him. Pole to despair for CJ, who comes home fourth. Dom Smith, you have to say the same. If Luca Chiapelli hasn't looked back since turn 1, Dom Smith has been hoping he can look forward since lap number 1 after that incident with Kim at turn number 2. Russ is going to come home in
Got a harsh round, sorry, Red Bull Kim.
Red Bull Kim is round further back. Petrohead has come across the line in 8th. Russ is going to come home in P6. That's some good points for Ferrari there, as Kim now just coming around the last few corners, getting very close to the wall. And he will come across the line, as we said, to finish in P7. Very leisurely pace there from
P7
Kim.
for Kim.
Aidan, sorry, just quickly again on the incident between CJ and Chris. So it just looked like CJ just lost it coming through the chicane, you think?
Yeah, when you've overheated the rears and you turn into a quick corner, you know, your rear wants to become your front, if that makes any sense. So he's come through the final sector. He's keeping the foot flat, which is what you're meant to do. Because he's overheated those tyres, there's no grip, his rear wants to become his front, and he's had to slam on the brakes to correct it, otherwise he's going in the wall. And I think as he's corrected it, he's sort of gone over to the left side of the track, maybe back onto the racing line. And Chris Johnson's got nowhere to go and goes right into the back of him. I think it's quite a real shame that Chris Johnson's now out of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, no, I happen to agree with you. Yeah, as you said, Chris Johnson was racing well, but it's 2 in 2 for tonight for Luca. He wins in Baku to become our first repeat winner of the season. Fantastic racing from him, you have to say, to keep out the carnage of lap 1 and take the race victory, which will put him in very good stead for this forthcoming championship. As the drivers get themselves together for the podium, it's all smiles and all celebrations as we run down through the order then. So we have Chiapelli coming home in first. Fantastic win for him. Now, interestingly, Erlang didn't have the penalty, and the gap was 0.004 of a second as they crossed the line in Joe's favour. Amazing racing. Joe takes second. Well, I can't even say by the skin of his teeth because it's less than that. Erlang comes home in third. CJ will be disappointed in fourth, having started from pole, but obviously still could come from more from the incident with Chris Johnson. Dom Smith will be bitterly disappointed with fifth. Russ coming home in sixth. Good race for him despite the incident. Red Bull Kim seventh. Petrolhead in eighth. Chris Johnson ninth. Disappointing for Chris, you have to say. Jacko P10. Michael Kenny P11. Mr. John P12. James P13. And Bazza, our outgoing championship leader, in P14.
On you go.
No, I was about to ask what you thought, but what an evening.
Yeah, an absolute thrilling 2 races. You know, incidents, again, fantastic defending, great overtake, especially China on the outside. Obviously the 2 McLarens making contact, absolutely fantastic. And I was actually going to point out there, Red Bull Kim did have the incident with Dominic at the start of the race. But came home in P7. So after like four races, I'm pretty sure he's like tripled his points tally to what he had last year. So
I think just in his career.
Or in his career, yeah. Decent start then for Red Bull Kim. Obviously needs to tune it down a bit, but I think very good for him to get points on the board.
Fair play to Kim there, you have to say. No, well, Aidan, thank you again. What a night it's been again in TGP2. This season just keeps on delivering these fantastic races. We'll join you next week. We're in Spain and Monaco. 2 more tracks, which hopefully will provide us with some fantastic action. This has been... I've been Mike Noon. You've been joined by Aidan Griffins. It's been sponsored by betnoon.com. And this has been TGP Series. We'll see you on PS4.
See you on PS4.